All right, what am I up to today? I want to know how much food my quail are eating regularly. I've got light on these, so they're getting about a 15-hour day, trying to keep egg production up. The birds are about 11 weeks old, so they're still prime. And this is our first year actually adding light continuously to increase egg production. I haven't had to do this in the past, but with the crazy weather, I really needed the eggs. Have customers. But how much food are these guys consuming? That is the question. So what we're gonna do, let me show you right here. I have taken my pipe feeder and I have packed it like perfectly level. What we're gonna do is we're gonna come back in 3 days. My pipe feeder usually lasts up to 4 to 5 days, but I moved a couple of the ladies into this pen. So in 3 days, we're gonna come back. I'm gonna weigh exactly how much food I put in here. We're gonna do a little bit of math, and we're gonna figure out how much these birds are eating on average per day. I wanna challenge you to do this experiment and keep track of how much food cost you have per bird. Now, when I first started, man, looking back, I had a ton of food waste. It actually drove me to research and develop my own pipe feeder. And it was a lot of trial and error to get it right, to cut my food cost and food waste way down. We don't even want to talk about how many bags of food I went through in a month. But with that being said, try this out. See how much food your birds are eating, and hopefully you get the same results I do, or it might make you realize, man, I need to make some changes to my pens and my food systems. You know, when you start raising 50, 100 birds or even more, food costs can get astronomical, and we want to keep that as low as we can. I just filled this feeder up like maybe 2 hours ago. You can see in here, my finger goes halfway in, about 1.5 inches in. And what happens, they're pecking at the elbow here, and they are essentially making the feed flow when they're pecking in here, getting it. But it keeps just enough in the bottom for them to have to reach their heads in, and it doesn't fall out. And you can see right here, there's like, oh, there's a little piece of food, but there's no feed waste down in here. All right, so we've got 50.2 ounces of actual feed in this container. I'm gonna take this, we're gonna fill this up, and we're gonna see the difference of how much it takes to fill it up. All right, that's how much we've got left in the container. So let's do a little math and figure out how much food they actually ate over the past 48 hours. Quick math. I had 50.2 ounces. I had 16.5 left, which gave me exactly 33.7 ounces of feed that they ate over 2 days. Now, if you take 33.7, and I've got 9 birds, over 2 days, they ate 3.75 ounces over 2 days for one bird. So roughly 3.75, divide that by 2 for 2 days, and they ate exactly 1.87 ounces of feed per day. So roughly, they're only eating about 2 ounces of feed a day. All right, so right at about 1.8 ounces. That's really not bad. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna do this for another 2 days. And you can see here, I've just topped up this feeder just right level. And I'm gonna come back in 2 days. We're gonna do the same thing, and we're gonna get an average over 4 days. All right, so my feeder's about empty. It's been exactly 48 hours. I've got a little container. We're gonna fill this up with food, take a measurement of how much we got, and we're gonna do a little math and see how much food these birds have eaten over the past 48 hours. Here we are, day 4 of our quail food experience. Now last time, they ate 33.7 ounces, which that's basically 2 pounds, 1.7 ounces. So what I've done is I've weighed out exactly 2 pound, 1.7 ounces of food. We're gonna get this filled up in here and see if it's about the same amount. Should be close to it. All right, let's get this poured in here. I'm going to very, very, very carefully fill this up. Don't want to spill any. Oh wow, that's really, really close. And I do mean like really, really close. I mean, that is... I'm trying to very, very, very... See, I've still got a little bit of space there because it's not all the way even. Yep, drop a piece. So they actually ate a little bit less. They ate basically a ½ ounce less. So that's very interesting results. You can see here I've got it. Actually, that is just a little bit lower right in this area. Yep, still just a little bit, or like a piece. Now that is like perfectly even. I'm actually kind of shocked by this. I mean, I've got a little bit of dust in here. I dropped a little piece right here. They have virtually eaten almost the exact same amount of food. I mean, that's very amazing results and consistent results. So what does this tell me? This tells me, let's say we have 7 quail, 6 ladies and a male. I can figure out exactly how much food it'll cost to raise them over 30 days. So let's do some math and see what we come up with. Now, what did I just do there? I took the quantity of birds times how much each bird on average eats per day. Then I multiplied that by 30 days. Then we've got how many ounces of food they eat over a month. So 16 ounces equals a pound. So what I did is I divided that by 16, which is 1 pound. And roughly that gives us right between 24 to 25 pounds of food in a month for a breeding set of 7 birds to consume. Now, there's some huge factors in this. First of all, that's not bad numbers when you're only feeding them grain fed, which is what this set is getting. Now, big factor is, what kind of feeder are you using? Yeah. Because I can look in my trays down here and there's minimal food waste. And I do mean minimal. And also, what does this do? It tells me that they consistently eat the same amount of food. So if they're eating 25 pounds of food and I'm substituting their food, say with, a pound or 2 a week of fresh veggies, or, if you're doing fodder, mealworms, and there's things that you can cut that food cost down with. And I think that's what we're going to be doing next. I'm going to see how much I could subsidize their food and how much money it's going to save me over a month, or even just over a couple days. So, outside of the next experiment, which I'll probably do in the spring, how much does it cost per bird for 1 month? Let's say your feed costs $20 a bag, which if you're paying that, you should be getting some good feed. So if you're roughly using a 50-pound bag of food, and that for the 7 birds, you're going to use half of that bag in 1 month. That's only $10 to raise 1 breeding set of quail a month, if you have efficient feeding systems set up. That's not a lot of money. Now, 7 birds, $10 a month. Well, let's do some quick math on that and break down the cost of them to feed them per day. So what did we just calculate? So we figured $20 bag of food lasts 2 months. Now, for 1 month, that's $10 in food. So what you see me do is take $10, I divided it by 7. That's how many birds we're calculating. That gives me $1.42 a month to raise 1 bird. $1.42. Then what I did is I took that $1.42 and I divided it by 30. That's 30 days. And you know what we came up with? It was like 0.045, whatever it was. Let's just say 5 cents. So it cost me 4 or 5 cents of food a day for 1 bird. That's it. Just off grain. That's really not that bad if you really break down the actual cost. You know, in reality, I'm not paying $20 for my food. I get it from a local co-op. It's a good game bird feed. It's only $18. So I've been sitting here thinking, food cost. I've done fodder. I've been blessed to be able to get fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff to subsidize my food cost through spring going into fall. And I've been really lucky to be able to get that. But what ways can you cut food cost? I've seen fodder growth. This is not as good of a system as what people think. You know, if you have any gardening skills, I'm going to break this down very simply. You've got a seed, you put it in water, it sprouts and grows. Unless it's in the ground or you are doing a hydroponic system and you are physically growing the seeds out with a fertilizer in the water, you're getting bare nutritional value. Because what that plant is doing, it is growing off the nutrition of that seed. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do fodder, there is a better way to do it. Look into hydroponics. Because just adding water and growing the seed out, you're not gaining much nutritional value. The only thing you're adding is you're adding water, and you're doing water weight. Yes, you heard that from me. You're not getting any more nutritional value than what that seed already has, unless you set up a proper hydroponics growing system. Look into it if you don't believe me, but if you're not adding nutrition to the seed, you're not going to get any more value out of it. Now, if you're lucky and you can find a local grocery store and you want to cut your feed cost, go talk to a manager. I should take a video on food waste at your local grocery store. They throw away tons of fresh vegetables because they don't look appealing, or they've got a bad spot in them. Or when they're peeling the lettuce or cabbage or anything, peeling the leaves off that stuff, they're throwing that away. Even apples. Like I've gotten boxes of apples and pears and bananas that were browning. And then you cut them open, they're not even bruised or anything, or Then you get some with bad bruises. Well, because they're not eye appealing, people won't buy them. So if you get lucky, you might find a grocery store that will give you the food they're throwing away. A lot of them won't anymore because people try to go get it from them. You got to know somebody. I was very blessed to be able to get this food. I do fodder. I have the Miracle Grow that you mix in with the water. And the difference in doing some fodder just with water and actually adding some nutritional value to the water with a Miracle Grow or another supplement that's set up for hydroponics. I've gotten the way in eating it, and then with the hydroponic, with adding the nutritional value, it is so much sweeter, tastes better. So if you set that up properly, you can cut your food cost. You know, there are a lot of things you can do. Like I have 2 quail tractors. Each one has 3 braiding sets in it. And I have yet to measure that out, but I noticed when I really started paying attention that anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of my food cost was less in my quail tractor than it was in my coop. And how could I do that? Like, how are you measuring that out? I'll show you. I'll fill up a pickle jar and I'll go fill up my feeders. And when you notice that you've still got a ton of food left in the pickle jar, and I'll use one of these. It works out perfectly for my setup and the feeders that I made, but they go through one of these about every 3 to 4 days. But in my quail tractors, I noticed that there would still be about 1/3 of the food left in there when I'm moving my quail tractors regularly. Because the quail tractors, they're eating the clover and the plantain, and they're eating the bugs. Like when you got a good moist evening, or you've got rain, I've got a ton of night crawlers in my yard. My yard is very healthy. And you'll see them eating those things, and crickets. And so my quail tractors, my food cost is lower. And I noticed that over the past year. I never really paid attention to it. I knew they were getting that nutritional value. But when I started paying attention to how much grain feed I was giving them compared to my other pens, it was much lower. I mean, lower than what I honestly had realized. Then you take that and you mix it in with fresh vegetables, scrap food from your house, stuff that you would throw away. I mean, you got berries that are, they're too soft, you don't want to eat them. Give it to the birds. You have pasta. Yeah, you eat pasta. If you've got extra pasta that nobody's eating, rinse it off good. You can chop that up, give it to the birds. There's so much cost in food we throw away. I don't. I put it to use. I feed it to my animals. The quail love it. I'll make a little, dish of food. I'll sprinkle some oats over it, and I'll take some of their food and sprinkle over it, and they will eat that tray up in a day. I mean, it'll be gone in a couple hours. So what I love is this whole video is, it's eye-opening to me, myself, because I never truly realized the minimal cost involved and how much I was cutting my food costs down in other ways and producing healthier birds. So guys, I really hope this is informative, gives you an idea of what your food cost is, a few ideas on how to cut your food cost back drastically, especially if you have a lot of birds like I do. Well, I've got a few. Guys, thank you for watching. Gonna be doing another food cost video in the future, come spring, when I'm doing a little bit, subsidizing their food a little bit more to see how much that actually cuts back. Hopefully it's going to get it down to like 2 or 3 cents a day, if not less. But again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Always trying to come up with informative information on how to raise quail.